acres, and this is what they've already done in scores of counties and cities. They take the old National Guard armories that back up on a few hundred acres or more. They put new fences with barbed wire facing in, and they say, this is the new threat integration center. We're giving the local, 3 cities in this area and the 4 counties, or whatever the case may be. It's different in every area. You'll come in here. You'll have live cameras, all the federal cameras put up for traffic. Then later they tell them it's to surveil the public. See, everything is done in a step-by-step thing to condition those, to acclimate the locals, to find out who'll go with them, to incrementally find out who the resistors are or who can reverse engineer what they're doing and understand it. And they tell them, this is an emergency anti-terror center and anti-crime center. And then they announce, as they first did 5 years ago in Green Bay, oh, guess what? In the new emergency center, you can type up wherever somebody's cell phone is and punch this button and track where they're at and hit this button and listen to the person's what they're saying. See, now it isn't the NSA that has the authority illegally to listen to you without a warrant. Now local counties and cities in the threat integration centers, where you got the National Guard building, or a federal building they give them, or an old mall that shuts down, the feds buy it, and then invite everybody in so they can be part of the petty power trip. And you've got the head preachers that lead the other preachers as Judas goats to tell the people to go to the camps. You've got the local police, the SWAT teams, all integrated, all trained. Now they federalize the National Guard, say the governors have no authority, bring them under Northcom, announce they're putting troops on the streets. FEMA's done this over at one of the Austin malls. I'm having one of those senior moments. David, what's the mall off I-35 in North Austin? Your wife saw it and told you about it, and then I Googled it, and sure enough, it was there, and I went over there, and it's a FEMA center now. Well, there's Lakeline, there's Barton Creek, Highland Mall. Highland Mall is now, go over there. They're there. And they'll men in uniforms come over with guns and say, get out of here. I mean, they're there right now. And over at the old airport, they've got a hangar with bolts and chains on the floors for the American people. And admit it's for you. That's right down the road. I mean, my cousin worked in the regular Army, and for the last 5 years, he's been here in Austin out at the old Air Force Base with all the underground stuff they've got there. He won't talk about it because it's all classified, but I already know. And, they're busy integrating it all. I mean, this is just all around us. And so they have these threat integration centers that are built on to 1,000 acres, 2,000 acres, 200 acres, and they have holding facilities. They have mobile jails. You can even see the federal purchase orders for hundreds of thousands of these single-person cells. People take photos of them every day on the web and go, I was at a four-way stop or a railway stop and saw all these little single-unit concrete things with a steel door and bars on them. And, yeah, you can go look at the federal purchase orders. They're putting those all over the country. Hundreds of thousands sites in Georgia, in Oklahoma, in Texas and California, in Colorado of the plastic coffins. All of it, ladies and gentlemen. And now they come out and announce, and in this one bill, you see all the major elements of it. The threat integration centers, the FEMA centers. And they say it's all for your safety in the collapsing economy. They just so happen to have built all of these. They just so happen to have had this huge infrastructure. They just so happen to be paying off politicians decades ago. And I found out from Marines and have the documents. It's in Road to Tyranny. They were kicking down doors and confiscating guns with Marines, with the police in Norfolk, Virginia. Again, beta testing in small units and then expanding out till now there is a giant standing army of paramilitary police, corporate executives, regular Army, National Guard being federalized, foreign troops standing by, all happening, and they come out with a bill and announce it's for your own good, and then the people email me and say, it is for my own good, Alex. So we're going to go over the bill when we come back. I'm going to get our guest on about 15 after because I want to be able to go through all this. And then we'll get into how they're killing people in camps in Canada. Stay with us. All right, let's get right back into the bill now itself. I gave you some of the background. And the key to all of this is when they're finally getting ready to really use it is when they announce it to the public, the regular army to be on the streets that'll be used against the American people. The Army War College has to start training the troops that, yes, it really was always for America and the American people, but it's for your own good because the financial collapse is happening. But remember, they built all of this by design, staged the terror attacks to build the public police state grid, the surveillance grid. Now they're wheeling it around and aiming it at the American people. And misdemeanors will get you in one of these camps for life. New legislation authorizes FEMA camps in the U.S. A new bill introduced in Congress authorizes the Department of Homeland Security to set up a network of FEMA camp facilities to be used to house U.S. citizens in the event of a national emergency. That's under PDD.4, including economic. I'm going to have Paul Watson do a Rosetta Stone article where he goes through all the points I'm making. It's a great article he wrote, but I want to add them all. But under PDD.4, it's economic or any other emergency. And the Congress is abolished, has no authority. The executive is in total control. That's called tyranny. The National Emergency Centers Act, or H.R. 645, mandates the establishment of national emergency centers to be located on military installations for the purpose of providing temporary housing, medical, and humanitarian assistance to individuals and families dislocated due to an emergency or major disaster. So, see, it's being pitched as that. Oh, you're going to go there for your safety, but who's there? The military, the police, the preachers. And that was from the bill. The legislation also states that the camps will be used to provide centralized locations to improve the coordination, preparedness, response, and recovery efforts of government, private, and non-profit entities and faith-based organizations. So, see, they'll have public, and they already set them up, FEMA offices. They'll set it up for a hurricane, but they never leave. And then it's, we're going to do, and suddenly they just turned on all the billboards on 290 all over the country, big flashing billboards that say, we're looking for a lost child. We're looking for a lost old lady. But then suddenly they're putting up signs like report terrorism, 1-800 number, or report illegal guns. They're now saying that. They're now flashing that. We have photos across the country and video. See, it always starts with, it's soup kitchens for forced compulsory service. You're not against soup kitchens. The Army's going to help you get out of a wrecked car. You're not against getting out of a wrecked car. We're finding Alzheimer's patients and kidnapped children. And then suddenly, and illegal guns, and terrorist, and call on your neighbors. You see how they're converting it. And the final phase is these youth brigades, these tattletale squads, this domestic security force, just as big, just as strong as the U.S. military. And then Obama goes on in the speech to say with forced compulsory service. And again, it isn't Obama doing it. He's just the front man. But he can sell black Americans and others on going along. He can sell Africa on accepting the new Africa Corps, U.S. military there. The legislation also states the camps will be used to provide centralized locations to improve the coordination, preparedness, response, and recovery efforts of government, private, not-for-profit entities and faith-based organizations. That's the 26,000 preachers. That's the 25,000 at least. They've been doubling it each year, but that's secret executives and key infrastructure individuals. I mean, Mike, who works here in this office, worked for LCRA in their security. And he already had a infrastructure protection badge 2 years before he even worked here. See, it's everything. Ominously, the bill also states the camps can be used to meet other appropriate needs. And if you nexus that with the John Warren Defense Authorization Act, if you nexus that with the PDD.4, the Military Commissions Act, the announcements of Northcom, it's for the American people. They've said previously, building the camps, it's for American citizens. As determined by the Secretary of Homeland Security, meet other appropriate needs as determined by the Secretary of Homeland Security. An open-ended mandate, which many fear could mean the forced detention of American citizens in the event of widespread rioting, a national emergency, or total economic chaos, which has been engineered by the bankers. Many credible forecasters have predicted riots and rebellions in America that will dwarf those already witnessed in countries like Iceland and Greece. With active duty military personnel already being stationed inside the U.S. under Northcom, partly for the purpose of crowd control in their own words, fears that Americans could be incarcerated in detention camps are all too real. But when we come back, I will give you the coup de grace, how they're going to do it, how they're going to roll it out. Stay with us.
Thank you for listening to GCN. Be sure to visit GCNlive.com today.